Pretty good game. Those games always scare me when right around the holidays. I didn't see what happened with the Georgia game. Anybody know? I know before I was walking out there talking to our team, they were getting beat at halftime, so we use them as an example of how these games right here. If you're not focused, it can be tough. But so I was proud of our guys getting it done. We shared the ball pretty good. There was probably a 4-minute lull in the game where we didn't, and we didn't score like we normally do. Defense was okay for the most part. We're ready for SEC play, man. I can't wait for it to be here Saturday. We need a good crowd. I'll go ahead and I'll just address this now because I'm sure I'll get asked about it. McKenzie Mbako was playing. He had a foot injury that he had surgery on early in the year. He's going to have to do another surgery on it. And it won't be he's probably been playing hurt on it. And they're going to have to kind of do something to it that'll help it. It won't be a long-term deal. That won't affect his career, but he'll be out the rest of the season. It's refractured, and so they're going to have to end up putting a plate in there to support it, which is a common surgery, not like an ACL, not like tearing an ACL twice where you hold your breath. This will be something where he's back healthy. He'll be just as good as new. What a soldier, though, for battling, trying to fight through that for this team. And as much as he wants to be out here, you obviously can't play with a broken foot. I'd be lying if I say that we're not going to miss him. He's obviously a very good player. Two of the 3 games that we lost without him. And so he's an impact to our team in a lot of ways. That means that, hey, we can't feel sorry for ourselves. We just got to really step it up, our players, our coaches, and our fans. We're going to need everybody because we're going into the gauntlet of SEC play without one of our really good players. And we don't want to make any excuses. We want to find a way. So we got to rally together, and we need the fans to rally with us, and that starts on Saturday at, I guess, 3 p.m.? 3 p.m. versus LSU. So hopefully everybody can be here and fight with us as we go through the gauntlet of the SEC.
No, you'd rather have McKenzie, but does the amount of games you've already played without him, do you feel like you kind of have a feel of how you navigate the rest of the season without him?
Earlier we tried to play without him, and we didn't know our team great yet. And we probably played a little too slow out there. We tried to play a little bigger. Probably was a mistake. Probably better when we can have shooters and can play with skill and speed on the floor. But I think the biggest thing that McKenzie, besides being a great player, he'd allowed us to play guys in the position we envisioned them playing when we recruited them. And when he was out last time, we weren't able to do that. And we weren't able to play as fast as we like to play. So you asked that question, do we know what we want to do? I know what we don't want to do, right, from going through it the first time. And I think we got more clarity on what we'll do going forward.
You guys started a 4-guard lineup
Yep.
tonight. Just, what have you seen from maybe that unit that, you have confidence in going forward, maybe knowing that that's what you might see quite a bit of here down the stretch of the year?
Yeah, skill wins, on offense. And if you can pass it, shoot it, and dribble it, you're going to be pretty hard to stop regardless of your size. So, it's always been big in how we like to play. We like to get 5 guys on the floor that can do that, but minimally 4. And we like to have speed out there on the floor so that we can attack and we have attackers out there. So, how do you make up for that on defense? You have to really fight to rebound. You have to keep the ball out of the paint because when you don't do that, it's a problem because you're small. So, we've been working on that, keeping the ball in the paint and obviously spreading it out on offense.
Didn't really have too much of an impact on tonight's game, but Rashawn had 4 fouls. Just how much of a point of emphasis is it going to be for him to stay out of foul trouble in conference play?
Yeah, I don't know if we've had many people foul out of a game. If we have, I can't remember. But, I'd rather us play aggressive than worried about fouls. Just, when we start worrying about fouls, we can't play aggressive defense. I think he's going to be fine. He's such a great rebounder. Obviously, we know he's going to need to play more than 20 minutes in these SEC games for us to be successful. So, he's smart. I don't see him getting too deep in foul trouble. But we need him on the floor as much as possible.
Bucky, especially in the first half, y'all scored a lot of points in the paint. Was it an emphasis on going to the glass more, or was it just something that the way the game was, what was there, taking what was there?
When you're sharing the ball and you have shooters on the floor, it's kind of there's decisions that have to be made. Are they going to guard the three or guard the paint? And when they're guarding the three, obviously, then if you're able to penetrate, you're going to have room at the rim to finish. And that's kind of what was happening. We were stopping them more. I think they missed a lot of their first 10 three-point attempts, so we're running the other way and able to get right to the rack in transition. We were shooting a high clip. We didn't shoot a ton of threes tonight. I mean, for us, what'd we shoot? I guess we shot 30. That's still not a lot for us, though, I guess. But I like to shot more.
You guys had a pretty healthy rotation with Jamie and Fetty and Zach. Just what have you seen from that trio in particular, and especially knowing that their roles might increase here these next few games?
Everybody's gotten better. I mean, this team and everybody's playing better knowing how the other players play. Like, how can I do what I do well to help the team? And then how can I help the others do what they do well to help the team? Early in the season, I don't think a lot of guys knew what they could do well to help the team. They didn't even know half their teammates' names to know what they do well. Now, they're kind of figuring out what everybody can do well and where they fit in. And, when you do that, you have confidence in how you play, right? Like if I went out there and played, I probably need to pass the ball because, I hadn't played in a long time. But I'd be confident I'd just pass the ball. Because when you know what you can do and what you can't do, you can be confident playing the game. And right now, I think we have a confident team right now.
It's the third straight game you guys have scored over 110 points. Baylor did that tonight. I think you guys are the only two teams from a major conference that's ever done that. When you hear that kind of a stat, the points you're putting up consecutively, I don't know, what do you think of that, and what attributes to the I know it's your style of play, but how are you able to keep that momentum up?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is what the heck happened to the other 10 games? We scored over 100 the last three. Where were the other 10 games? But sharing the ball, when you pass it, you score. And I actually in the huddle, I told our guys, Ruben had made a three because Ryland was about to rip a three and passed over to Ruben. I remember that play. It was a great extra pass by Ryland. Then we come back, and so we're on the scoring run. And then we come back, and Ruben's going to rip a three when Ryland should have been a pass to Ryland. And then Ali Diba drives. It goes to layup, but it should have been a kick out to Ryland. And we came up empty on 4 possessions in a row because we were thinking score instead of pass. When you think pass, you usually score. That's what's funny about the game of basketball. And so I just think when we're passing the ball well, you're going to score well. And that becomes contagious both ways, right? It becomes contagious both ways. And, there's a reason we're leading the country in assists per game, and there's a reason we're scoring like we're scoring right now. So, and then we're stopping teams a little bit more, so you're not taking out the net every time. It'll be a grind in the SEC, we know that. But we got to play to who we are, which is, guards that can space and shoot and score,
How do you think this team has grown the most over the course of non-conference play?
Passing the ball, and then we've gotten better on defense. I'm an honest coach. I don't hide much. I just tell you what it is. And I said that, hey, we lacked some individual defense before this year started, but we've collectively found ways to get more stops. I don't think you're ever going to look at our team and you're going to say, hey, that looks like the Baltimore Ravens with Ray Lewis on defense out there. That's just not who they look like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think if you looked at our players, any of them would fit in on that team, Some of the best defensive teams, they look like the Baltimore Ravens on the basketball floor, but they found a way to be better each game collectively. So I think that, and then sharing the ball. And then just early, the pace we were playing, our guys still weren't in condition to make shots playing at that pace. Now we're shooting a high clip. We shot 37% from three tonight. I think I saw something Warren sent me earlier today, top 7 or 8 in three-pointers made per game. So we're getting where it needs to get to. Yeah.
There's been several schools across the country that have been adding a player in the middle of the season, just given the situation with McKenzie. Is that something y'all are interested or even looking into at this point?
We're looking at all kind of recruiting options always. If we added a player, I would be looking at that more for you get a player halfway through the semester that you're really prepping for the following year. You know what I mean? It's just I don't love the idea of that. But I don't mind taking a player that has a year and a half and you start prepping him because he could be here with an open scholarship to come right in next year and hit the ground running. We got Nico right here who we recruited who's on campus. He's not this year. He's not going to play this year for us. but he's enrolled in school. He's going to start practice with us here in January, and so when he comes in, he'll be a freshman. Really have experience of a sophomore.